Hello, everybody. I'm Zenith, and welcome back to the Disney Debate, where Kat Mac and I talk about Disney products and Disney in general. How's it going today, Kat?
Ay Dios míos, no buena. And that's the extent of my Spanish speaking, so sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Today's film is another film that caused us a lot of trouble trying to find it. And we eventually had to go onto YouTube and use YouTube Rental, and we paid $2 to see The Littlest Outlaw. Now, let me say this. I don't think it was worth the $2.
Me neither. Definitely wasn't. I mean, it might have been at first, but as the film went on, I was just sighing and waiting for it to be over.
I mean, it certainly isn't the worst film we've done on this show. That goes to Cinderella 2 so far, or The Reluctant Dragon. It's among those pieces of crap.
Mm-hmm.
But this is just, there's so many things that are wrong about it. It is very boring. It is very contrived. The title is a lie, but we'll get to that in a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And the dubbing is simply horrible. Since this was originally a Spanish film, the language was in Spanish, and they dubbed it to English.
Yeah, but here's the weird thing. Looking up the info for it, they said that they actually filmed the scenes twice, both in English and in Spanish, because apparently most of the cast was bilingual. But watching this film, you would think that, they simply just dubbed over the voices, because honestly, that's how it looks and sounds. Like, the lips don't match up, the voices sound weird, and like they're not coming from the actors at all, and it's like a bad Japanese dub, that's what it seems like. So I don't know if the information I got was wrong, or if it is true, and the dubbing is just, the audio is just really bad, but either way, it looks horrendous.
Yeah, it really does sound like they didn't put any thought behind what they were saying. I mean, think of Ninja the Mission Force type dubbing where it's done for comical effect. Like, this is just ridiculous. And one of the reasons why we started liking this film at first is because of the dubbing, because it was just so ridiculous. You can't take anything seriously, but that does wear off after a while.
Yeah, I mean, eventually I think the dubbing got a little better because I didn't really notice it that much later on. And plus, they had some people that naturally could speak English, so they didn't need it.
Mm-hmm. Like the priest who, you could tell he was actually speaking.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, it wasn't a good job. And whenever, like, Chateau was on screen and talking, or the barber, it was so comical the way they were trying to dub it, and the translation was pretty bad. But first we should talk about what this film is. The Littlest Outlaw is a film about a young boy named Pablito, who is a peasant boy working for a general in the military. And his father, Chateau, is one of the horse keepers. He's one of the people who trains the horse, gets them to do all the jumps and stuff that they need to do. And so Pablito, his son, is working, grooming the horse, making sure the horse is ready to be a horse jumper. Now, we find out that Chateau is abusing this horse. He puts spikes out to make him jump higher over the walls. But you know what that does? That doesn't make the horse want to jump over the spikes. No, it just makes the horse afraid to jump.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the whole thing that prompts him to do this is that he makes a bet with these guys in a bar. And at first I thought he made it with, like, the bartender and some of, and the barber and some of the, local town folk that happen to, just frequent the place. But apparently I think they're more along the lines of like the mafia of Mexico or something, because he's like deathly afraid of losing his bet, and that's what prompts him to use harsher methods with training the horse.
Even
And
though the horse never had problems jumping over the wall before.
well, they did show he did a little bit, like he would sort of clip the top at the end, because like he could jump high enough. It was always that like he would sort of like tap it, and then the wall wouldn't remain intact. And of course, the best way to get the most points in jumping is to jump over something without touching it. So.
Yeah, I've never understood horse jumping personally. I don't really get it. That's just me. I don't see it as a sport. I mean, I can get horse racing, but jumping is just beyond me. But apparently it's a big sport in this film.
Mm-hmm.
So the general takes the horse to go to the jump, and lo and behold, when the horse tries to make goes to the wall, he doesn't make the jump. He's scared, and so Chateau gets all mad. He's just like, he's lost his bet. But that's where it kind of goes in a different direction, because it's not Chateau, the main villain of the story, who initiates the problems. It's the daughter of the general is stubborn enough to ride the horse even when it's afraid of jumping. So she forces the horse to jump over the wall, and the horse clips its ankle, and she falls off the horse.
Yeah, and even though she was the spoiled little brat who took the horse out without permission and against the protests of Pablito, Pablito and the horse get all the blame for it.
Even Chateau blames it, and he's the one who gave the spikes. And he threatened Pablito, like, don't tell anyone about the spikes, or I will tan your hide, and I will tan the horse's hide, and I will tan everyone's hide.
Yeah, just the whole scene is really frustrating and infuriating to watch, because, I mean, anyone could see that it is clearly the girl's fault for taking the horse out, and anybody who works with horses could tell when they're scared, and would probably, figure out why at some point, or at least try to investigate as to why. And
so before even learning of anything, the general's just like, shoot that horse. I want that horse dead. I want Pablito punished, and the general doesn't even take the time to investigate what happened. He sees Pablito there, he sees the horse, like, whinnying about and hurt. Actually, the general doesn't even notice that the horse is hurt. All he sees is his daughter, and he goes to the doctor and just says, I want that horse dead.
Yeah, that's a big problem with this movie, is the lack of communication between characters. Of course, in TV, film, and pretty much media history, there's a lot of comedy to be found in miscommunication. But in this case, it's more frustrating than anything. Because you'd think after that whole thing happened with his daughter, Pablito would, upon hearing that the horse is about to be killed, would finally come clean and say, hey, the horse was scared to jump because, my father's been laying spikes down, which injured it, and your stupid-ass daughter decided to push his fear, and that's how she got hurt. But no, he doesn't say any of that. His solution instead is simply to just steal the horse and run away.
In fact, nowhere in the film do they actually tell the general about the spikes.
Mm-hmm.
Never.
Nope. Pretty much the whole entire film from this point on is Pablito and the horse going from point A to point B, and then rinse repeat until the very end.
And I think one of the biggest problems in this film is the structuring. Everything either happens too fast or is padded to oblivion, and that's a really big thing. In film, you have to have proper pacing. The beginning is very bing, bang, boom, this happens, and people automatically assume things, and there's no communication. It seems very contrived, and a lot of it has to do with the way the dialogue has been translated to English. It's very literally translated, so when people are saying things, it seems like you're either skipping over something, or you're just missing the meaning of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as for Pablito himself, I mean, I really don't think he's that good of an actor. He kind of just plays the scared little kid throughout the whole thing.
He's better than Bobby Driscoll was in the fact that he actually can express emotions. But the problem is that Pablito doesn't have a character.
No, he really doesn't, and that's the thing that really confused me about this movie. Because upon reading the description and and seeing that it was a horse movie, I thought it would follow the typical horse child storyline. You know, the child has some sort of emotional problem, or they have the death of a loved one and can't express themselves to anybody, and then all of a sudden they gain possession of a horse, which they learn to take care of, and the two form a bond, and that bond is tested. I thought it would go along that route, but no. Pablito pretty much just has known the horse, you know, has a soft spot for it, and then pretty much just steals. Of course, you know, he steals it for good reason, but other than that, you don't really see much of his relationship with the horse, other than he doesn't want it to die. I mean, he apparently doesn't care about the horse enough to actually tell its owner when the horse is being abused.
And that we never really learn anything about Pablito's past. We never learn, you know, why he's so close to the horse. We never learn why he's doing what he's doing, other than he just wants to run away with the horse. We really don't get anything about Pablito, and so the title is a lie. It's not about him. It's not the Littlest Outlaw. It's just the horse.
Mm-hmm.
And since the horse can't talk, we really don't have good main characters.
Yeah, because, I mean, the big thing whenever you do a movie that features both a human and an animal, because, of course, we can't get any dialogue out of the animal, the human has to be sort of like the translation, you know, the one to sort of voice both of their fears and their worries and discomforts and all that type of stuff. And Pablito really doesn't. He just, like I said, he just takes the horse from point A to point B, and to every person he sees, he says, "Oh, please don't take the horse."
And he acts like he's going to be this responsible owner, like, I can take care of the horse. I have to keep running for the horse's sake. But we never see him feeding the horse, or watering the horse, or anything. We don't see him caring for the horse at all. The only shots in the film that we actually get to see are him leading the horse through the desert, seeing the horse into a train, bringing the horse into a church. We never see him actually caring for the horse. And that is a big problem when we're supposed to take him seriously as a character that can care better for the horse than the general. Sure, he's not killing the horse like the general did, but the general was pretty angry, and it's understandable because it was his daughter that got hurt. Now, if he had taken some time, I'm sure he would have, you know, investigated or whatever and figured out, oh, the horse wasn't to blame.
Yeah, though, to be fair, though, he does try to get the horse's wounds attended to.
But then he brings the horse's wounds into contact with dirty Mexican rivers.
Yeah. I was flinching at that. And also when he takes them to these two bandits who use basically alcohol to clean it. And I know alcohol is supposed to be a really strong cleaning solution, but I assume it's like the equivalent of like dirty Mexican tequila or something.
Yeah, like, it was poured directly onto the wound. And a big thing that really took me out of the film was the fact that the horse didn't react to it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care how well trained the horse is. If you get alcohol poured on your bleeding wound, you're going to feel it. And the fact that the horse didn't react pretty much showed that, you know, they must have, like, just poured water on it or something, just so they wouldn't have the horse going apeshit when he had that stuff put on him.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, there really is no reason to believe that Pablito will take care of the horse, because at every turn Pablito makes the wrong decisions for him and for the horse. He steals the horse. He takes it to a place in the middle of the desert where he finds bandits. The bandits well, one of them turns out to be actually a sheriff of the town. And this is a big thing with me. I never really understood what the sheriff's deal was. Like, he says, I used to be a bandit, but now I'm a sheriff, but I'm hanging out with bandits.
Yeah.
I'm not arresting them. I'm going to keep the law, but good job on stealing the horse.
Yeah, he's mostly... I'm pretty sure he was just a superfluous character, basically used to get the horse from point A to point B. That's pretty much his whole purpose. It's not like he ever shows up again. And that's pretty much everyone else's role that they encounter. They encounter the bandit and the sheriff bandit. They say, oh, you're stealing the horse? Okay, we'll go to this guy, and he'll get you even further. They go to that guy. Hey, in exchange for this nightgown, can you get us to this place? No, I don't think we'll do that. Oh, wait, we can turn you in for the ransom money. Sure, we'll do it. Point A to point B. Hey, we don't know where to go. Can we stay in your church? Sure, but I'm going to take you guys over to a ranch so the horse can get his wounds mended. Okay, point A to point B. I mean, do you see the pattern here?
There's so many random places that they end up. Like, I can understand, okay, it's Mexico. They'll run into bandits. That is probably the most realistic thing that's happened in the film. But then they go to the train station and they take the horse on a train to the next stop. And they go into a church. The priest lets the horse into the church, lets them stay in the church for a long time. I mean, this is long enough for the horse to stain the cobblestones of the church beyond recognition. And, they stay there for quite a while. Then they go to a bull ranch because there's a doctor there that can help the horse. Like, they don't think, oh, maybe I know someone who owns horses. No, just to the bulls, because that's Mexico. Mm-hmm. Then they run into some gypsies randomly. Like, it's a random 5-minute diversion, and the only reason that they run into the gypsies is so they can tell them where the horse has gone to next. And then they go to see some bullfighting. And we have our climax where they save the horse from the bullfighting ring.
Yeah, and that leads to a rather uncomfortable aspect of this movie, is the very possible proof of animal cruelty. Because the first instance we see of it is, of course, with Pablito's dad, who we see actually taking like a rope and whipping the horse. Like, it's not really like a cutaway scene either. He goes right up to the horse and is just like whacking it, and then when Pablito gets in the way, he starts whacking him. That's that one case, and the second case is when they take him both to the bull farm and to the bull fight. Because in both instances, a bull escapes from its compounds and goes after the horse. And the way it looks, it seems like the bull actually gets a good shot in actually goring the horse. And at one point, I think you even see blood. Although I'm not sure if it was on the bull or the horse.
Yeah, it was pretty bad, and I don't know what they did to actually film this, if they actually put the horses in any danger, but a lot of these scenes are just padding, and they're senseless violence towards an animal in terms of padding. It doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah, it really doesn't. Like I said, I think the whole moral of the story was that you can't run away from your problems, and that's pretty much what they show Pablito doing throughout the entire film, throughout the entire film up until like the very last, not even 5 minutes of the film. Because
yeah,
even like the priest like sits him down and says that you must. I know what you're going through, I know the situation, but I really think you should face your problems. And I'm thinking, yeah, you're in a church now, you're protected under sanctuary, why don't you send out a message or something to the colonel asking to see him, have you both sit down like rational adults, tell him what has been going on, and explain your reasoning for taking the horse, and then explain what your father's been doing and everything. At no point is that ever proposed.
There's also the point where they go to the bull ranch, and the doctor, the person who cares for the horse, comes up to him and says, there's a time where we all have to face our own bulls, and you think, oh, he's going to have to face his problems eventually, like right now. Nope. He runs away with the horse again. Like, he tries to go away. And the guy's just like, well, he has to face his own bull, I guess. What? What kind of bad parenting is this? I mean, yes, they're not father and son, but you see what I'm saying? Like, that's not something you let a child do. The adults in this film are just stupid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do a very poor job trying to convey the message. Like, you think at the end when the general and all his men come to the bullfight that they would save both Pablito and the horse, and then Pablito would finally man up and talk to the general directly about what's been going on, and then they would finally reach an understanding. But no, he actually rides the horse out of the bullfight, jumping over a large wall, and because the general sees that and thinks that the horse has gotten over his fear of walls, he's just like, let them go. They're fine.
The horse is useful to me again. I should just let them be free. Even though he should want the horse more now. But
yeah, and then you cut later to him at the house, and his daughter's fine, and then all of a sudden Pablito just randomly shows up and gives him back the horse and says, "I'm willing to receive my punishment," and the guy's like, no punishment needed. You can keep the horse.
It completely goes against everything the film's been trying to say, like, you can't run away from your problems. He never faced his problems.
Yeah, so this whole film, and honestly, I don't remember much about any of the characters just because a lot of them were pretty superfluous in the whole scheme of things. Like I said, just basically sending Pablito and the horse from point A to point B. The characters that are there, they're not really memorable in the least. You have the abusive father, you have the commanding general, and you have the nice priest. They're all archetypes we've seen before. And
there's really nothing interesting about any of these characters.
Yeah.
I mean, they're a bit better off than Pablito because, they're not supposed to be main characters. But at the same time, there's really nothing about them that is interesting.
Yeah, not even the horse is that interesting. Because the horse actually looks like every single horse in the movie, yet somehow everyone is able to identify it. And
it's the bridle. It has the initials of the general on them, even though they don't look that closely at the bridle.
Yeah, but even then, other than that, the horse is just a good jumper. It's not like he can do any sort of special trick or anything, or he's, even that expressive. The horse is just there. That's pretty much it. So, and that's really the biggest downfall of this movie, that not only is it boring, but it's forgettably boring. And that's, the worst.
Yeah, there's really not too much we can say about this. I mean, it's not a film like Black Beauty where the horse is the main attraction or spirit. It's not like Wild Hearts Can't Be Broken, another Disney film down the line that I really enjoy and that has amazing characters and is one of the better Disney live-action films I've seen in a while. But there's nothing to really latch on to this, really.
And it's not even, horrendously bad, like The Reluctant Dragon or So Dear to My Heart was, in that, yes, it was boring, yes, it was stupid, but, that's what sort of makes it notorious. This, like I said, it's bad and just, you don't care about it. You don't remember it. For all you could care, this film would phase out of existence and, whatever.
It's not offensively bad. It's not like The Fact where it fails on every single level as a film, because it does some things right. But, I mean, there's really not too much to like about it. In terms of music, there really isn't much there. They don't sing a song, and the music they do have is pretty much your generic, Mexican samba music.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the thing is, the film, I'm pretty sure they were trying to gear it toward kids, but, you know, other than the novelty of there being a horse, there's really nothing for the kids to enjoy.
Maybe the bad dubbing. I was laughing throughout the entire, like, first 20 minutes of the film just because of how ridiculous it looks with them dubbing and how weird the characters look when they, like, smile at people. There's this one shot where they cut to this guy with a mustache, and he just smiles, and he looks so goofy and ridiculous that you just can't help but laughing at him.
Yeah. Yeah, but... Yeah, I don't know. I really hesitate to call this film, like, extremely bad because we've seen extremely bad. And it's not like, and you know, for the most part, the settings are authentic looking enough because they actually did shoot in Mexico. And they actually make Mexico look pretty decent. You know, a lot more decent than I'm sure it looks now. It's just, I can't really name anything good about it. Like, there's, like, no highlights. There's no character I like. There's just nothing. It's, like, almost soulless.
Yeah, I think the biggest crime of this film is that there is nothing that stands out about it. There's nothing to look at and just be like, yeah, I like that character, or yeah, I love that acting. Even in, like, So Dear to My Heart or The Reluctant Dragon, there's something that I can give the film.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I either really feel strongly emotional hatred or strong like towards something. Not in this case.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, at least in So Dear to My Heart, you had Burl Ives to sort of, you know, put some fun into the film, or at least attempt to, you know, with his music and everything, and being, for the most part, a likable character.
Mm-hmm.
With this, there's nothing. I mean, even the priest, like, he did a good thing with helping Pablito when he should have turned him over to the authorities, but I don't know,
At least Cinderella 2 was quotable. You know, this movie simply isn't done.
No, it is not. And frankly, I'm glad that we're moving on from this.
I'm sorry we don't have too much to say, guys, but you try sitting through this film and either not laughing at the terrible dub or just trying to find something to latch onto. That was The Littlest Outlaw, guys.
Mm-hmm.
My verdict, don't watch it. It's not worth your time. Unless you're like a Disney collector, it's very boring and there's not really much classic about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's no magic, there's no adventure, there's nothing. You know, I mean, if you want to see, like, the first film set completely in live action in Mexico that's under the name Disney, you know, I guess maybe check it out. But frankly, Three Caballeros I thought was a lot better. and they didn't even spend that much time in Mexico.
The thing is, for a film set in Mexico, it feels more stereotypically Mexican than, like, what an actual Mexican film should be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so just, you know, if you want to see it, go ahead. But other than that, don't go out of your way or waste your money.
Watch the Man with No Name trilogy instead. You will enjoy it much, much more. So that was The Littlest Outlaw. It was meh.
As you all know, we've unfortunately gone on hiatus a lot, either due to personal reasons or financial reasons, or because we have films that are so freaking hard it'd probably be easier to go after the Holy Grail. But this time we figured, you know, to reward you all for your patience and for still sticking with us and everything, we do something special for the holiday season. So next time we are actually going to jump forward in time and do a Christmas special. And the one that we have chosen is actually one that's very nostalgic to me and means a lot to me. And it is called Mickey's Christmas Carol. Now, technically, this isn't a movie. This is more of like, I guess, a short or, you know, a cartoon or something. The thing is, it was first played before The Rescuers in theater. So it was one of those sort of like little pre-movies, the things you see now with like Pixar and all of them. But to me, this is a very good Christmas special. It's one that I've grown up with, and true, it's probably the shortest version of the Christmas Carol ever told, but it's still a very powerful one, and I really look forward to talking about it to you guys next time.
Mm-hmm. So we are going to be talking about that next time. I have not actually seen this Christmas special, but I'm looking forward to it. And after that, we're going to be doing another special podcast talking about the Disney acquisition of Star Wars and what it means to the entire Disney universe. Because Disney has acquired other things in the past, like Marvel and Naruto, and I don't know if they still have the Naruto license or not, but...
and Saban.
Mm-hmm. So, Disney has acquired a lot of things over the years, and we just wanted to talk about what this Star Wars acquisition means to Disney and to Kingdom Hearts.
Yes, and then once that's done, we will get back on track with our chronological order of movies, and the next one, I believe, is The Great Locomotive Race.
The Great Locomotive Chase, and yes, we found it on the YouTube rental. We might just have to use that because I'm not seeing anything else. But, YouTube rental at least has these films for $2. Again, the last film was not worth $2, but...
Who knows, maybe this one might be. I mean, it has our good old pal Fess Parker, who you might remember from Davy Crockett. And true, he might be somewhat of a bland actor who squints too much, but hey, he's still entertaining in a few things that he does, so who knows? I guess we'll have to wait and see.
But until then, I am Zenith Rule, and this has been the Disney Debate. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any comments, criticisms, suggestions, or Disney movie suggestions that don't fall under main Disney movie canon, but that you would like to suggest for us, please let us know at zenithrule.blip.tv, or you can follow us at Twitter at twitter.com/zenithrule and twitter.com/EphraimTRabbit, or you can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/zenithrule and facebook.com/catmac, or you can go to our fan pages at facebook.com/thedisneydebate or facebook.com/teamdiezenith, and chat with us. Let us know what you think of the show, suggest things for us to review, or just have a general interaction with us. So until then, I'm Zenith Rule.
And I'm Kat Mac /EphraimTRabbit/Cat T Critic.
And we will see you next time.
Thank you for watching the Media Meltdown. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more awesome videos. And if you like what you see, show your support on the Patreon page at patreon.com/Media Meltdown. See you all next time on the Media Meltdown.